Statue of Liberty, and you're watching Let Freedom Ring.
And welcome to Ring In Free Thoughts, episode 8. You probably didn't expect the step-by-step intro there, but I just had to hear it.
I wasn't expecting it, I'll tell you that much. That totally threw me for a loop.
Well, you gotta expect the unexpected.
I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad
That
about
is
it.
Ring
I'll
In
tell
Free
you.
Thoughts. You don't know what's gonna happen. We're live on air. Anything could be said. Anything can happen. It's like the World Wrestling Federation. But
Suzanne Summers could walk in the door right now.
R.I.P.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah,
Really?
she passed away. Yeah.
Oh, well, I
Like-
guess Suzanne Summers cannot walk in the door because I
like
had
a
no idea that she was
she
deceased.
couple years ago. There was a '90s con in Connecticut over the weekend, and all the cast from Step by Step was there, and one of the cast members was rocking a Suzanne Summers T-shirt. So
Well, I will retract my previous statement. R.I.P.
she's
Suzanne
not
Summers.
she's not coming through this door. But Scott, it's episode 8, bi-weekly Ring and Free Thoughts. How the hell are you? This is the new TJF. This is the new TJF right
I
here.
mean-
Ring and Free Thoughts.
I was fantastic until about 20 seconds ago when I found out that Suzanne Summers died. Because, yeah, October 15th, 2023. I had no idea. But I'm good, man. You know, just living life, taking it one day at a time. I went out, got a new truck a couple of weeks ago. I got a
Okay.
pickup truck now. I got a new vehicle. Been busy with that. No complaints from other than that. Actually, I had no complaints at all except Suzanne Summers dying. How about you? How you been?
I've been good. Off air, I already have my tax return monies, and I was, that's always a good feeling. We get taxed. It's nice to get that extra check during the year.
Little Johnny Manziel, little
So-
bit.
So my mood went up. My mood went
There
up
we
a
go.
little bit there for sure.
Positivity. I love it.
But we'll get into the headlines now. It hasn't been there's a documentary that has come out about Nickelodeon here, and I haven't seen it, but I've seen enough stuff on YouTube to know what was going on.
Mhm.
Quiet on the Set here. Let me get get this full logo so you can see it. I think
There it
it's a dark side of kids on TV.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about
I've heard of it. Yeah, I mean, I hear of everything. I'm on the web. You know,
the World Wide Web?
I'm checking out the social medias from time to time. Yeah, I've seen, the clips and all that. I haven't watched the actual documentary itself, the shows itself, other than again clips online. It's one of those things where it just breaks my heart. It's not must see. It's not must see TV for me. I don't know.
No, it's. I don't want. I just want to get this comment in because we kind of moved on. But Megan says, "Don't give your return. Don't forget, interest-free loan." Thank you for the plug. She is an accountant. I do believe her. I will talk to her about that off air. But let's back to what we're talking about. I didn't want to skip the comment.
Love
Yeah.
love your wife. Love your wife. She runs the house. She does the finances.
Former guest.
Former guest of the show.
So, from what I've seen on it, Amanda Bynes has struggled as an adult. Drake Bell has struggled as an adult. You start to wonder what's going on. Is there something there? Now, a lot of this stuff, this guy Dan Schneider, man, that guy I remember
Who
seeing
is
him.
this guy?
I
Yeah.
remember I think he had some ties to you can't do this on television back in the day because I remembered his face. He was on Head of the Class. I don't know if you remember that show.
No, I got nothing there. No.
I got great memory with some of that stuff.
I
but
do too, but that you're talking a foreign language to me right now. Yeah.
I will say though, the shows that he produced are past my time. But it
Right.
looks like he got his dirty hands on all that at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, just what's sickening is like that's like kids television, and how does that happen? You
Yeah,
know,
I
how do you have
mean,
how do you have predators working for $1 million company like that? Um,
sure, it's been happening since the golden era of Hollywood in the whatever 30s, 40s, 50s. It's happening today, I'm sure. It's happening all over the world, and it's never gonna stop. I mean, it again, like I said, it absolutely breaks my
but
as a father, as a human being, it breaks my heart. But
I think you can if people speak out like this documentary and call it out.
yeah,
But I mean, there's so many horrible things that like, and I hate to always bring it back, but like the more that comes out, you go, because I was one of those people at one point. I was like, Michael Jackson wouldn't have done those things. He did it.
he did those
He did
things,
it. He
dude.
did
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things.
And those things were
And
dumb.
and I remember when the Jerry Sandusky thing came out, and it's like all these people that could have said something,
Yeah,
they don't say anything.
I know, and like it's. I mean, I would assume that you've never been in that situation. I've never been in that situation, so
Yeah.
I can't justify myself. What's a good way of putting it? I can't. I've never been in that situation. I have no idea what that feels like. To be a victim like that. Like there's got to be layers and layers that go into it. And then especially with you being a Hollywood TV star, like what are the threats behind the scenes? You're never gonna work in this town again if you say anything, that sort of stuff. I don't know. Again, it just breaks my heart. Those poor kids. And I mean, like you said, you mentioned Amanda Bynes. Like, I saw something. I don't know if it was part of this Quiet on the Set deal or whatever that, or something, but that she had to have an abortion at 13 or something like that.
I didn't hear that, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
right. And that it was this same dude. Like, eh, it just breaks my heart, man. It makes me so sad.
It's terrible, and a lot of like what people don't realize is like your childhood is going to affect your adulthood. A lot of things that people struggle with is childhood trauma
Hmm.
that they don't even know. And they just try to go about
Yeah,
life, and it impacts it. But not just that, but like I felt bad where they had a kid on the ground doing some kind of dare, and he's getting licked by all these dogs, and he's just saying like, I don't like that, and they had him keep doing it, and it's like that's a child. They had
yeah.
another kid he had put a scorpion in his mouth. Like, is that like, are you really like?
Well, that's like some fear factor stuff right there.
But
But
they're minors at the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, it's funny because my parents were over earlier. We were hanging out. My mom asked if we had been watching that sort of thing, and she was commenting on it just for a bit about it.
yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
no,
agree.
man.
We'll
Parents,
get to
parents,
that. We will
yeah,
get to
right.
that.
My mom was asking, and she was talking about how like she remembers, being an adult at the time of late '90s, early 2000s when I was watching Nickelodeon stuff, and she was, or my parents were pointing things out, and they were like looking back at it now it was inappropriate, but like at the time, like I as a kid thought stuff like that was absolutely hilarious. Like stuffing things down your pants or whatever it might be. I mean, I still think it's kind of funny, but like the behind the scenes stuff, like we had no idea.
It's
I don't
just,
know, just
I mean, I've seen some of the breakdowns. Like they had Ariana Grande before she was like a big star,
yeah,
doing some kind of like really like trying to squeeze like this potato thing, and then drink. Like it was very like, what are you doing? How many people does these sketches have to go through till they get on television? And
right,
what kind of sick bastard thinks that's okay for that age group to
yeah,
like?
yeah,
Not only that, but this guy was toxic. He was abusive.
yeah,
It's like these people that get, and it's everywhere. Like it's coming out with Nickelodeon. Obviously, Vince McMahon is he's
mm-hmm,
like that.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
and so goes. They found toxic stuff on the Ellen Show, Jimmy Fallon, and there's some things that I don't know the
all
answer to it,
there's all sorts of conspiracy stuff going on in the
but
Hollywood scenes nowadays.
but I'll say this:
Mhm.
Ellen, Jimmy Fallon, you're talking about adults,
Sure.
not kids, and for
Right. No,
anybody, I
agree.
think
Yeah.
that's the right way to treat them. Um, Obviously, Drake Bell has had a lot of legal issues over the last couple of years, and he was just served up to this a pedophile
Yeah.
who got 16 months for it. Like what? Like
What are we doing?
what?
What
Like
are we
how is
doing?
this?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Again, it not to be a broken record, but it just breaks my heart. It really does. You know.
it really is just it's
Yeah.
tragic, and I did see like the apology video from Dan Schneider, and it's like, dude, one, maybe don't release the video right away.
Yeah. What are you
Maybe
doing? Yeah.
maybe you sit on that a little bit. It
Hmm.
feels disingenuous. I
Yeah.
understand that a lot of these like abusive, toxic people, they don't see it the same way
No,
as
of
the
course
other
not.
people.
Yeah, because they're the predator. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
whatever he's saying in these apology videos. Yeah, I'd never do it again nowadays. Like, well, of course you never do it now because you went to jail or whatever. But come on, like,
I don't think he didn't go to jail. Dan Schneider
no.
didn't go to jail.
Oh,
No.
he didn't. Oh,
He did
somebody else
not
did.
like abuse like sexually anybody or anything like that. These people were on his staff. But he's the
Ah.
head guy. He
Mm,
created the toxic environment, and he was kind of like abusive to these kids, and it wasn't like our era of Nickelodeon. I can say
right.
that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like those are really big shows,
Yeah. Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Again, I'm sure stuff like this has unfortunately been happening for decades and decades. You know.
yeah, and I mean the only thing you can control is like, in your own life. Now we're not Hollywood, right? We'd like to
Certainly
think
not.
we are. But
Mm,
all you
someday.
can control what goes on in your own life, and when you see something wrong,
Yeah.
I would say that to anybody, stand up to it. And I know that's hard because I think a lot of us go through our lives just wanting to stay out of conflict,
Mm,
and um, that's not always the right thing. And the right thing's not always the easiest thing, you know.
I hear you. Yeah.
But also, Princess Kate just came out.
Yeah. What's going on
Um, so she's 42 years old.
here? Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Announces she has some kind of cancer diagnosis, and I'm not big on the royal family. Like
No.
I don't know a lot about it. I guess she had gone.
Yeah. I
Do you
did
know
fall
more about
down.
this?
I fell down a rabbit hole a few nights back. Yeah, there was something. I believe the last like public appearance or something like that was either Christmas of 2023 or shortly before Christmas or something like that, or there was something. She was taken out of whatever place they live at, or they were vacationing or whatever it might be on Christmas Day, that sort of thing. Ambulance or whatever it might be in England. I don't know if it's an ambulance or some
A
other
wham, a whambulance?
oh wham, some
Uh,
fancy English term,
yeah.
that sort of thing. But then she hasn't been seen publicly since until, well, I mean, again, she hasn't really been seen publicly since, right? I mean, they put out that video today about the whole cancer thing. But yeah, there's been all sorts of weird back and forth about where is she and what's going on. She was in a hospital. She wasn't in a hospital. He was Prince Charles or whatever is going to see her, but the kids hadn't seen her, and I don't know. It's bizarre. It's a little bizarre.
I mean, normally a lot of people like you look at like Chadwick Boswick. Remember him? He was
Black
Black Panther.
Panther, Wakanda
He-
Forever. Yeah, yeah,
Nobody knew that he had cancer.
sure.
Nobody,
Yeah, that right.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yep.
he did, and this guy's filming like some of his best work.
Blockbusters. He's filming
Yeah.
blockbusters.
So
Yeah.
I could see her just now. She's not an actor, but
Mm.
maybe like that's not easy to. I guess you're in a position where your whole life is on is
Oh
followed.
yeah, I mean to be a royal princess, to be a part of that royal family, to be on the national stage, that sort of thing. I mean, that's that's got to be something in itself.
Wait, is she
Um,
an actress? Is she an actress?
no, she's not an actress. No, no, no.
Wasn't one of them an actress? She's an American.
I believe Meghan Markle, who
Now, who's
is
Meghan
married,
Markle?
she's married to the other brother, Prince Harry, I believe. I
Okay.
believe she was on the show Suits. That was
Okay, so
on.
they're not the same.
No, they're different people. Yeah, yeah. There's
Okay.
two brothers, Prince Harry and Charles and Harry. I think. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm an American. I'm just some scrubby New England boy. I don't know the English monarchy. If anybody in the comments wants to chime
Chime
in
in.
on the
I
Let's
live in
Freedom
I live
Ring.
in New England, so I don't know what about England.
Your old
You know?
England and your monarchy can screw.
Yeah.
But no, Harry, I believe, was it Harry? I think so. Is like the redheaded sort of ginger one. Yeah, him and Meghan Markle are married, and I think they like defected to like Canada or something like that. But
Okay.
yeah, I believe she was an actress on the show Suits that used to be on the USA Network, I believe.
Yeah, which is
Is that
fairly.
even
It's a popular show for USA Network because they never
is
have a
USA
good
still a
show.
thing? Is it still USA or is it something
It is
else
still
entirely?
USA. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it still USA? Yeah. Huh.
They don't like. I remember back in the day, La Femme Nikita would come on after Raw.
La Femme
Or
Nikita came on after Raw. Yeah, La Femme
yeah,
Nikita. Yeah,
Silk
yeah, yeah.
Stockings at one
So
point was
stalking
one.
Jag on USA? I
It
don't
might
know.
have no, I think that was CBS, but maybe
Yeah,
USA picked up syndication.
could have. Yeah. La
Monk.
Femme Nikita. Monk. Yes.
I
Monk
am
was a
naming
big.
all television shows I've never sat down and watched an episode of.
Monk and Suits were hand in hand. I think on
Yeah.
USA from like 8 to 10.
Okay. Murder She Wrote used to come on before Raw. I remember that in syndication.
Yeah. What was the
Still
name?
never seen that.
What was her name from Murder She Wrote? Was that
Very famous lady
It
there.
wasn't Betty White. What was the
Definitely not
murder
Betty
she
White.
No, what was the murder she
If
wrote lady's
only
name?
we had. All right, Murder She Wrote.
Was Murphy Brown also USA?
Angela Lansbury,
Angela
who was
Lansbury, there
like
it is. Yep.
very famous. I think this is like I think she was very famous in
She
the
was, yeah.
early whatever you want to say, early
In the
Hollywood years.
murder she wrote phase,
It's like the
mid
golden years.
90s, maybe, give or take,
Yeah.
right?
And I want to say she's probably passed away.
Suzanne Summers is
2022.
dead. I mean, if Suzanne Summers isn't here, then I would think Angela Lansbury's long
Angela
gone.
Lansbury lived to be 96 years old.
Jesus Christ. When did Angela Lansbury pass away?
2022. Wait a second.
Before Suzanne Summers. What's that? What are we doing?
All right, so Betty White lived to be 99. She lived to be 99.
Betty White made a deal with the devil or something like that. Betty White signed some sort
I
of
know, but we all
contract.
talk about Betty White because she's so beloved, but Angela Lansbury had a case for like never dying.
What did Suzanne Summers die from? Like, I need more information on this whole Suzanne Summers situation. I had no idea. But it sounds familiar. She might have had some sort of a cancer, right? Like,
so Suzanne Summers
like
was
Princess Kate. Ugh.
76. She passed away.
She was murdered.
Health problems, hyperplasia. So she had skin cancer.
There it is.
2000, she got breast cancer. Oh, she had a lot.
Mm,
And her death was attributed to the breast cancer.
bummer.
So
Bummer.
that's very sad. I'm
Three's
really.
Company.
I hope Princess Kate. Obviously, any human being, I hope she's okay. And
Yeah, we're still talking
and
Princess Kate. Yeah.
it's tough for her. Like it's tough for. I mean, I'm not famous or anything. It's got to be tougher to be in the public eye while you're
Right.
going through something so serious. And
Yeah,
she's only 42.
Right, exactly. But she's
You
on
know.
such a pedestal, there's just conspiracy theorists all day long on the www on the web saying, where is she? Is she photoshopped? This Mother's Day photo is photoshopped, this and that. And it's like, I don't know, if she's been freaking getting chemotherapy for months, like she doesn't owe you anything, she doesn't.
Yeah. Why do
It's
people
not-
care? Why do you care? They don't have power.
Right. It's all just
It's the
For sure.
gossip.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, like media royalty. You know.
Want to talk about this? Mercedes Monet, aka Sasha Banks,
There she is.
also on The Mandalorian, which I never have seen yet, but she
Oh yeah, that's right.
signed with AEW for a good chunk of change. Sounds like the ratings spiked pretty high when she came out. Now it was in
Did they?
Boston. I didn't go.
Yeah.
I try to avoid Boston, especially on a Wednesday. It's really hard to draw me to go do that.
Yeah.
Do you think that she is going to help? If I'm not mistaken, it's like 10 million for 3 years. Some people are saying it's one of the highest wrestling contracts, especially for a
Really?
female.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously the Khan family that's like chump change to them.
Yeah.
Um,
Dollar bills.
what do you think of her going to another company?
I mean, you're the wrestling guy, so you tell me. But I feel like, does anybody really care about AEW anymore right now? Like, isn't it just like just like treading water? Like,
They definitely have the money.
yeah,
It's
sure.
whether if they lost their TV deal, that could cause problems. I think that they do well enough
Are they
for
just on
Turner.
TNT? Is it TBS? I don't even know anymore. Is it?
TNT.
Or
Well,
are those even two different networks nowadays?
she
She did. She did. Megan said she wanted to be the CFO. Yeah.
CFO. Yeah, so she's got this whole. They get the crowd singing, going CEO, CEO. To be honest, I'm a Sasha Banks fan, or
Yeah.
Mercedes Monet. I think that she
I like the
will
move,
help.
that little move of hers. Yeah.
Someone said something. My buddy Tim said the other day. He goes, I just don't have faith. Like, it's great to get these signings, but I don't trust their creative to do anything with them.
Yeah. Right.
And I
Yeah.
think that's such a big when you're a weak like people talk about wrestling's a male soap opera, right? Well, not just
Mhm.
male though. I hate when that's said because your wife's a wrestling fan.
She loves it.
Um, but you got to tell stories. Just having the talent. If you look at like WCW at the end, that roster was stacked. It was
Yeah.
absolutely
Right.
stacked. A lot of those guys are in the Hall of Fame, and they couldn't. Russo couldn't put it together. He couldn't make an entertaining show. And just having talent is not going to
Yeah.
get people
Yeah.
interested. You're gonna have to have compelling stories, and the match should be the payoff. But for AEW, it seems like they're so focused on we want to have great matches, which is great. But if there's no story behind it, you're not pulling in repeat customers to see what's going to
Gotcha.
happen next week.
Gotcha. I mean, who do they even have in the female division anymore now that Jade Cargill's gone? I mean, have they ever really even had any
Yeah,
big
so
names besides
they
the Britt Baker broad?
this is the biggest name on a mainstream basis that they've
Sure.
had.
Yeah.
They really did a lot of great things with Britt Baker.
Yeah.
She's a dentist who's also a
Yeah.
wrestler,
Right. Yep.
and things were going really good with her. And then all of a sudden, they just like stopped.
Yep.
No real explanation. Just wasn't on her trajectory that she was on anymore.
Sure.
I mean, I like Kushida, not Kushida. Oh wow, I'm blanking now. Karu Shida. I like her too, but obviously not the big name star.
Right.
They do have Paige. Yes, they do have Paige. She's returned.
Sure.
She's not really on the program anymore. I'm a big Chris
Mhm.
Statlander fan. She's there, but she's not like a big star.
Yeah.
I think Tony Storm is
I've heard
like
that name.
the
Yeah.
best thing that
Couldn't
they have going right
kick her
now.
out of a lineup, but yeah.
She had her gimmicks like she's gone crazy and she thinks she's like a 50s like actress.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I have seen that on the Twitter on the app.
I find her very entertaining. She's probably one of
Mhm.
my favorite things on wrestling
Sure.
television right now. So
Really interesting.
I think Mercedes could push some people in,
Yeah.
but are you going to get the return on your investment when your creative's not good? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I feel like,
that's not going to be on Mercedes.
yeah.
Like,
I feel like you need a compelling story. She needs an opponent. She needs, is she a heel? Is she a face? Whatever, like
she's
do
definitely
they
a babyface.
Yeah. Who's like the women's champ right now in AEW?
Tony Storm.
Is she okay?
She's
Yeah.
the best thing that they have. That's so they just go, okay, just put the title on her, and
Right.
this is gonna carry it. And
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
it's they have to get their women's division over. They need to establish them more.
Right.
I
feel like they're
Mercedes.
just decades behind the ball on that one. I mean, it took WWE how long to really get rolling on their side, right? Like,
Well, I think WWE just had to use their women better, and they
sure.
figured that out.
Oh, like that, yeah.
Because I mean, back in the day, like when people started seeing what Lita could do, they were like, "Whoa!"
Mm,
But you also got to give WWE a little bit of credit. I mean, they did put the Intercontinental title on China when intergender matches were not exactly
right.
acceptable things.
Right.
Dylan, what's going on from the World Elite Podcast? What's going on, my friend? He's in Louisiana. Red Sox fan, though. He's a Red Sox fan.
Oh, okay, good. There
Yeah.
we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Are they ever gonna make like a mid card belt for the women, like a women's
They do.
Intercontinental or something? You know,
It's
like
the
I know they got the tag, but
TBS title.
well, no, I'm talking
Oh,
WWE. I'm talking.
Oh, WWE, I think that's
You know, like,
talked
is that
about.
ever gonna happen? Like,
Yeah, I think I mean the division's bigger than it used to be.
right? You've got a lot
Um,
of women there, right?
the thing was like in the 90s they were trying to be Jerry Springer type television. So they did because they attempted to have like a women's division in the mid 90s. If you remember Alundra Blaze was the champ. That was Medusa.
Okay, I've heard
And
the name Medusa. Yeah.
they didn't really have a lot of challengers for her. They had like Bull Nakano, who's going in the Hall of Fame, and they had Bertha Faye. And I couldn't tell you anyone else that Alundra Blaze wrestled in that time period. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And they kind of just gave up on the women's division, and they like let her go. And that's when she threw the title in the trash can on WCW. And it wasn't as impactful because the belt really didn't mean much because they get into a lot with it. So
just remember lingerie matches, you know, like Deborah and
well, that's where they went with it in the later 90s.
Right. Yeah.
But then, you know, Trish Stratus proved that she could go. You had her Lita. Then they brought in like Victoria. Like she doesn't get a lot of credit for really helping the Widows. She had the Widow's Peak was one of the coolest moves ever.
What was
so? Yeah. You don't remember her, do you?
I'm thinking of Victoria, but no, I kept thinking of what was the I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. The African American woman there.
What year? Oh, Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. There we go. I was thinking of Jacqueline. Yep. I mean, she was around for ages. I feel like she was good.
She was good. Ivory was a great wrestler. So they had talent. They just decided to do what they were doing, and
it wasn't what we wanted back in the day.
Well, as a teenager, I was fine with it. As an adult, I was like, okay, that's not exactly cool. You know. So I don't know. I'm hoping Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné does help them. Again, it's going to come down to creative, and I think Tony Khan needs help, and he doesn't want it.
Crumbum.
He's on the Mount Rushmore of Crumbums.
The only one so far. We'll get there eventually, but yeah
he's got this stranglehold on like wrestling fans like me who are just going to watch.
Yeah.
And then he tries to appeal to his niche audience. And then, you know, so he's got the wrestling fans, but the rest, just the hardcore base is not enough, in my opinion, to be a nationally televised television show.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have no interest. Like when Edge went over, I was like, oh, that'd be sweet. Like Edge and Christian, that'd be super cool. Like, you know, as a part-time wrestling fan, I might want to see that, but here we are, you know, X amount of months later, and I have no interest in that.
Yeah. I'm hoping it gets better. I do think the show has been entertaining, but I don't know if it's entertaining to anybody that's outside of that hardcore wrestling base. They're going to watch no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard. But spring, are we at the first day of spring yet? Did that happen?
I feel like that happened at some point recently, right? Yeah, that sounds.
Let's see. First day of spring.
About right.
Is it already official?
Oh,
March. It was March 19th.
Suzanne Summers, man, just breaks my heart. I had no idea.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
I had no idea about Suzanne Summers. I can't get over it.
Suzanne Summers, man, she did. I mean, she had Three's Company big in the
Mhm.
70s, and that Step by Step was
Step by
like
Step.
her like comeback to TV.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it was for Patrick
And
Duffy
like
too, 'cause she was on
Thigh Master. I feel like was she the Thigh Master?
Was that Suzanne Summers?
Remember
I think
that?
so.
The exercise
Yeah,
thingamajigger there? I
yeah,
think that was her. Yeah, she was influential on a lot of our youths, if you know what I mean.
she
I,
was.
I gotta move on.
I can't believe. Yeah, that's shocking.
Yeah,
You didn't know that.
yeah, bummer.
Let me just ask you though. It's spring's here. It sounds like the weather is now going in the other direction. I think some snow
Right?
this weekend. Like, what are you thinking about that?
Yeah, like I got word earlier today, like there's gonna be some rain and snow and sleet and stuff tomorrow. Like Zoe, the kids got dance class Saturday morning. It might get canceled because of the
Really?
weather tomorrow. Yeah, it's insane. Like I got her dance class at 9 o'clock. We're gonna know around 8 whether there's cancellations. I'm like, can you give me a break? Can you
Can
give me a break? It's spring. Like what the?
Well, we had a pretty easy winter.
We did, yeah. A lot of rain, yeah. Warm, sloppy, rainy winter, but yeah, the last couple of days have been bumming me out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been colder. Like I've been, I'm like, we're going outside, and I've been going out in a sweatshirt, and I
Right.
did that yesterday, which was a mistake. And I'm
Hmm.
like, Wyndham, let's go. Take a
Yeah.
crap, would you
Yeah.
please?
It's
This
tough.
wind is
Tough.
cutting through me right now. Please, just go to the
Brisk.
bathroom.
It is
Yeah.
brisk out there, yeah. It's just it bums me out. It bums me out. 'Cause
Well,
we had it for like 2 or 3 weeks, right? Where it was nice out. I
perfect.
could go outside, no sweatshirt, no jacket, nothing. And now I got to worry about, do I got to put the kid, like I had to send the kid to school the other day in gloves and a winter hat again. Like she hadn't needed those in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. What are we doing? What are we
What are we
doing?
doing?
There
What
it
are
is.
we doing?
Right. Yeah, that fake spring baloney.
I do
Bumps
want to
me
get
out.
into this though, because
Mm.
we want to introduce a new segment called Let's Get Retro.
Ooh, put your
If
retro specs on.
Me and Scott, if you can't tell by some of these episodes, we really like the 90s. We really like the 2000s. We're living in a world that we don't even know anymore.
Take me back.
Yeah. But it is 30 years, and I forget when the exact date was, but it's already happened, that Ace Ventura came out. A lot of people now kind of revisit this movie as some things, I guess, problematic. But let me just ask you,
Mm-hmm.
what did you think of Ace Ventura when it came out back in 1994?
So big Jim Carrey fan. Big Jim Carrey fan. I mean, Dumb and Dumber is one of my top 3 favorite movies all time. Never gonna change, right? Ace Ventura fan, don't get me wrong. Just hilarious stuff. I feel like when it came out, again 30 years ago, 1994, we were, I was 8, 7 years old at that time. I don't recall seeing the original one. I do vividly remember seeing the second one, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, in the theaters at Premiere 8 in Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Which
Has
not existed
no,
for
it's
a long
PT
time.
Connection or just Connection right now. Yeah.
Yes.
But I remember again vividly, just because I remember going there with my stepdad, and I must have been in the 3rd grade because I just got glasses and I forgot my glasses as we were going to see Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. So we had to sit in like the first row to see that movie, just for what that's
I
worth.
hate the first row. Oh,
I mean, and this is back in the day when you couldn't pre-buy your tickets, pre-buy your seats, all that sort of stuff. And I was a kid. I was 3rd grade. I just got glasses. I forgot them. I couldn't see, so we had to bite the bullet and sit on that one. But I haven't watched the Ace Ventura movies in a long time. But hilarious stuff, right?
I can't, when it comes on, I can't turn it off.
Really?
Like, that's how, like, it's crazy how good Jim Carrey was.
Genius.
And the
Genius.
thing was, I used to watch In Living Color as a kid, so I knew who Jim Carrey kind of was.
Okay.
He was that Fire Marshal Bob or
Yeah,
Bill
yeah.
or
Fire Marshal
whatever.
Bill, I believe. Yep, yep, yep.
And but I remember seeing this and just like couldn't stop, and I can't to this day stop laughing. Like his comedy, like his physical
Physical comedy.
comedy.
Physical comedy, yeah.
It's just so goddamn funny. The things that he can do.
The
Yeah, the
facial
mouth.
stuff, the moving around, yeah.
Um,
Genius. Absolute genius. Absolute maniac and psychotic, I'm sure, but
I didn't
absolute
understand,
genius.
and I just assumed back when I was a kid because I didn't really. I assumed that that the Dolphins played the Eagles in the Super Bowl that year. Like I figured like that
Yeah,
was there
right. Yeah.
before, even though Dan Marino makes an appearance in it. That's pretty funny. And Dan,
Yep.
I asked you to stay out of my personal business when you asked him for the gum. A lot of people do find like the Ray Finkel thing at the end kind of not good in today's world.
Yeah, again, 30 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it was a little
Mm.
because she was, transitioning, I guess, so to speak.
Finkel and Einhorn. Einhorn and
Finkel's
Finkel.
Steinhorn's a man, and then he just plungers his mouth for 2 minutes and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff. Like, you can't get away with that nowadays. But
that
again,
it went over my
1994 was
head though.
hilarious.
At
Right?
the end, where they
Yep.
turn him around and he
Yep.
talks about
Yep.
the hemorrhoids,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that until I was like in high school.
Same thing. I was thinking the stuff that went over my head was when him and Courtney Cox were, getting it on essentially, and they're playing the, that Lion King. Yeah. Again, I'm a 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid or whatever watching. I have no idea what's going on. That's way over my head, but genius stuff.
What do you think of Jim Carrey's career?
I mean, again, I'm a Jim Carrey fan. I absolutely. Dumb and Dumber is just chef's kiss cinema to me. I love Dumb and Dumber. I love The Truman Show. I love flipping it, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where he went,
I did finally watch that recently.
oh yes, yes, yes. I haven't watched it because I haven't been depressed in a long time, but
It is depressing.
yeah, when you're single and you're lonely and you're going through some heartbreak, that's a movie for you. I
No,
mean,
you know
he's a
what bothered me was the woman.
mm,
They're going to get their minds erased,
Kate Winslet. Yep, yep, yep.
and no, but when Jim Carrey goes in there, there's a woman sitting in the waiting room, and it says, "Bring all the stuff with you that you want to forget."
Mhm, mhm,
And there's
mhm.
a woman sitting in there with a dog dish and all the
Yeah,
dog stuff, and
right. Yep.
I'm like holding Wyndham tight. I was like, "I'll never
Yeah,
forget you, buddy.
yeah.
Whatever
That's
happens,
a
I will."
doozy. It's a doozy. It's a
That
doozy of a
got me.
movie.
That
Yeah,
got me right there.
yeah. No, I mean, like he's like I feel like one of those. I don't know. I love Jim Carrey.
Well,
I
let's talk
do.
about
I
Me,
always
Myself,
have.
and Irene.
Sure.
Now
Yeah.
that
Well.
is he had
Yeah.
that's like
Right.
6 years after Ace
Yep.
Ventura,
Little
and
raunchy. That was a raunchy one.
but that's another one. Like the rewatchability on that is so high.
I will say I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Oh, it's so good.
I haven't seen
It's
that
so
one.
good.
The Mask.
The Mask,
I
yeah, I know.
loved. I was just trying to think of other Jim Carrey stuff. The Mask. I absolutely freaking loved when I was a kid. Um, I mean, he's just done so many random things here and there. But then he's also kind of a lunatic. You
When he
know?
didn't like, did he think he deserved the Academy Award for The Truman Show?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know. Was he
Because
even nominated? Like,
he
what's
showed up
what's
to like
going
the
on?
MTV Movie Awards and he was acting really weird. And he
Yeah.
like came
Yeah.
dressed. He was like playing a part or something. And I remember it was around the time the Truman Show came out. And I
Yeah.
think he thought he was gonna. And I've watched the Truman Show and I like the Truman Show. And I'm like,
Love
I
Truman
don't
Show.
know what award he thought he should have won for that. It was like, yes, you did a serious
Hmm.
role, but I
Yeah.
didn't think that
Yeah.
that was an Academy Award winning role.
No. no, 100% no. I mean, that could have been around the time that he was doing the Andy Kaufman stuff, the Man in the Moon.
Oh,
I
we
don't know
got
if
to
you
talk
ever
about
saw
that.
that. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I never saw the movie, but I've seen like the documentary that went behind it and just how in-depthly crazy he got and into that role. Uh,
Well, he would pretend like he was Andy Kaufman on set. And I
right?
remember
Yeah.
I read the wrestling dirt sheets then because Jerry Lawler had all that stuff.
Yep.
And he was treating everybody like he would treat them.
Yeah.
And he was like rude to Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler didn't know what to do. And I guess he like smacked Jim Carrey
Right.
because offset Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler didn't treat each other that way.
Right. Yeah.
Like they were in it together. How
Mhm.
could they push the envelope? And Andy Kaufman, that's a guy who died of cancer like in his 30s, like 35.
Yeah. Right.
So who knows what he could have done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man on the Moon, if you haven't seen it, you really should watch.
I never
that
saw the
movie.
movie. No, I never saw it. I feel like I'm just going through like the list of Jim Carrey movies, like Liar Liar. I've seen it 100 times.
Liar Liar is
Cable
great.
Guy. I've seen
Jose
it 100 times.
Canseco.
Jose Canseco. Cable Guy. When he was a bit of a
That
villain
I
to
didn't.
Matt.
I didn't enjoy Cable Guy.
No, I didn't enjoy the Cable Guy. I feel like I
That's
had that
not
on
for
all the
me.
time when I was a kid. One of the funniest things that's ever been filmed, I feel like, was the second Ace Ventura movie when he was in that big mechanical rhino and he's trying to squeeze out of the anus of the big mechanical rhino. And
I don't think I've ever really sat down and watched the whole second Ace Ventura because I wanted it to be like the original, and I don't think it was.
See, it's funny. I've made a vow. I've made I maybe made 1, 2, 3 vows to myself in the universe in my life, right? And one of them has been that I will never, ever watch the Dumb and Dumber sequel because I love the first Dumb and Dumber so much. I don't want to ruin it and watch the Dumb and Dumber sequel.
Did you ever see Dumb and Dumber?
Oh, where they were like kids and it was like a
Yeah.
prequel. I feel like I did, like, give or take when it came out, but that Dumb and Dumber sequel that came out 20 years later, like I just can't. I don't want it. I don't want it to ruin my life. 'Cause I feel like it would.
I can't say that I've seen it. I did see Dumb and Dumber, and I just remember there was one hilarious scene that I couldn't stop laughing.
No.
Was the guy that was Jim Carrey. There's a scene with Bob Saget, and I forget what happens, but Bob Saget comes in and he goes, "There's shit everywhere." And like Bob Saget's reaction had me dying, like laughing.
Bob Saget, I know has been deceased.
Yes.
That's not a surprise to me, like Suzanne Summers.
He died right before the Patriots played it was announced right before the Patriots lost to the Dolphins for the second time that season. Where Mac Jones, I just remember that. I remember
Weird
where I
how
was.
things link up, right?
I remember where I was when I heard Bob Saget passed away. And I think his was a head injury.
Yeah, but still sort of mysterious.
A little mysterious, yeah.
A little mysterious, yeah.
But it's crazy that Bob Saget, he was pretty funny. If you ever seen Entourage, he plays himself, and he's pretty.
Never watched any Entourage. Never watched the Entourage at all.
You never watched Entourage?
Entourage. No, I always think of Michael Scott. Yeah. No, I've never seen it.
Oh, you are missing out if you've never seen Entourage.
Yeah.
That is that's gold. That is gold. That Entourage is like the life I wish I lived.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That is like that. If you watch those episodes, you'd be like, "That's got to be the life."
He was Aquaman, right? Wasn't that the whole idea? Like the kid was.
Before Aquaman was an actual movie.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So Vinny Chase is the original Aquaman. Whoever that other guy is now is just an imposter because Vinny Chase.
What's his name? Yeah.
I don't know. He looks like a pro wrestler.
Why the hell am I blanking on his name, man? He's one of the biggest. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He's even in the new Dune. He's even in the Dune movies. It was called Drago. But Game of
Jason
Thrones.
Momoa.
Momoa. There it is.
Momoa.
Yeah. Those Aquaman movies sucked, though. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, now Mrs. McVicker has seen Entourage.
She's not a trash fan. I had no idea. Huh. You learned
Ari
something
Gold
new
is the
today.
man. Ari Gold's a very funny character. I feel like
That
that's a
was-
show
what's
up
his
your
name,
alley.
right? What?
Wow.
Right.
This is just telling you how Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven.
Yes. He came
News
along.
Radio or Wings? Was he News Radio or Wings? I can't remember.
Neither. He was on
No?
Ellen. Ellen.
Ellen. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
So he was like a not that good a character on that show.
Uh-huh,
Not that I never really enjoyed the Ellen show.
My parents had it all the time. I remember.
I guess I'll say this: I've never found Ellen DeGeneres like funny.
Has anybody?
Apparently,
You know,
she did good ratings.
I feel like her and like Rosie O'Donnell, like they were just on TV. Right?
I'll give Ellen this though; she made strides for the LGBTQT community.
Sure,
coming out on that show because that was 1997.
That was big news, yeah.
And they didn't do stuff like that,
right?
You know, so you got to give her like she has her place in like television history for sure.
I'll give it to her, but I feel like she's another one of those ones that like the conspiracy theorists think like.
She's not a good person.
Yeah, right. Like,
she's got a phone line to Bill Gates.
Like Anne Heche, right? Like
Anne Heche passed. She passed away.
Right. There was that whole like
she crashed her car.
Drunken drugs controversy. Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, we could go down a rabbit hole. This has nothing to do with 30 Years of Ace Ventura.
No,
but yeah, I love Jim Carrey. The new Sonic the Hedgehog movies. I don't know if you've seen those.
No, and I probably won't. To be honest.
No, they're actually pretty good. He's the bad guy. He's Robotnik. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember. I wasn't good at video games. Video games and me are just not. Sports Talk Baseball 93. That's about it, or 92, or whatever it was.
They're fun.
I do have that.
They're fun.
One
movies.
video game.
If you randomly have the nephews and nieces over, and you're watching them on a Friday night or something like that, and you got nothing else to do, you put on those Sonic movies. You can't go wrong.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about this now. This happens on Facebook a lot, and I had some people reaching out to me because I guess I got defriended on Facebook by somebody, and whatever. And they asked me if the person defriended me, and I go, I don't know, let me check. And I was like, yeah, they did. There's two people feuding. Not two people I'm super like close with or whatever. Yeah. And I think I liked a post that wasn't I don't even know. I don't know. But anyways, how do you feel when you get defriended or people defriending people on Facebook?
So it's funny. You mentioned this, and I feel like I can go both ways on it because I feel like I often I don't defriend people, but I like unfollow them when like especially around like politics time. Like if somebody's one way or another, I just don't want to hear it. Like if we're posting 24/7, like I don't want to see it, you know. But I won't drop any names, but I do have somebody that I noticed at some point because you'll scroll through those suggested friends list or whatever,
and they popped up,
and this person popped. I was like, oh, like me and you used to, I thought we were boys, I thought we were boys 14 years ago or whatever. Like a friend of a friend, a friend of a mutual friend of ours, a previous roommate. And then, I was, a mutual, acquaintance of ours that I was then acquainted of this other person through that mutual acquaintance of ours. Yes. I was like, oh, that's a weird suggestion. And I was kind of offended, I was like, wow, really? Like, But to each their own. I mean, am I too controversial for you that you don't want to see my stuff anymore? I don't know.
Well, it's harder when like there's no like reason behind it, so you're like, okay, what did I say that? But as Facebook is like I've almost had it for 20 years.
Right.
I've unfriended different people for different reasons. I
Sure.
probably defriended more people in my drinking days where I'd be like, really, and now
Yeah.
now not so much. But I do think if like you cross a line, there are people that's
Yeah.
like you mean nothing to me. I don't need to
Sure.
know
Yeah.
you.
Oh, I could go through my list right now, just random people that we bumped into at Plymouth State, again 20 years ago, and that I've never had any sort of other interaction with you besides some random party in 2007. But
Yeah. Well, that's
you
because you
know,
get home and be like, I remember like getting home from a party, like meeting a girl and
I gotta
trying to
like
find
those
her
pics.
send the
Yeah.
Facebook request. Oh, I'm interested if I sent that.
Mm, add that friend, baby. That was the first step. That was always the
Yeah.
first step. That
And
was
then,
always the first
now you're
step.
creeping into DMs. I mean, I did have that one time,
Uh-huh.
that one girl that I added who thought things were going a certain way that were not for me.
Hey,
I don't want to
uh-oh.
get into what you said to me
Mm.
that scared me.
I said it or she said it?
Yeah, you did.
Ooh.
Uh, she was saying she was going to show up to the apartment and all this other stuff, and yeah,
I don't know, man. It always astounded me. I will say, I was always impressed with you. You had lady callers all the time. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
you always there was always females looking to touch base with Dan Bollier, and it always astounded me. I don't know how you did it back in the day, but you did it,
I
my
was
friend.
young, but I remember one time, yeah, you had me scared because we drank a lot. There's no buts about that. It was college. Something
Mm-hmm.
happened, and I wasn't that interested. Then they said they were going to show up. You said, "Well, what if this?" And I freaked out. I freaked out,
We'll have to
and
touch base after the show.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a scary moment. Um, so, but anyways, I don't get
Yeah.
insulted if someone unfriends me anymore. Like,
Even
I'm
notice it
not,
half the time.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea,
No.
and I post a lot of stuff.
Mm.
And now it's like if you don't want to see Wyndham, don't follow me because you're gonna see that dog like every other
It's
day.
all dog dad stuff. Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
walks. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love having him. Oh my gosh! Like
Why not?
as soon as I get out of work, I'm like, we're going. We're gonna go do 3 miles,
Mm-hmm.
and he's all
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Yeah.
But
Loving it. Loving it.
But this particular situation, I'm just like, I don't want anything to do with the feud between these two, anyways.
Mm.
So I was kind of like, okay, now my hands, like, I'm just not, I don't want to be involved in it. And I have nothing against the person that unfriended me.
Hmm.
It's not my business,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um,
Hmm. What's the relation to this other person? Like, were you actually friends with, or were you like,
not for
friends of
them.
friends of friends?
They were a guest on the show. They've been on Let Freedom
Oh.
Ring.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. They're
That's
a guest of the show. And
huh.
again, and I support what they do. So not what's kind of going on between these two. They might have some like legal stuff that works out, and
Huh.
I don't really have a side on it.
Hmm.
It's just one of those things that's none of my business. And I think they said they're going to talk about somebody on a show. And I liked it. And then someone, I guess, I don't know. But someone asked me, and I said I'll check. And I said, all right, well, there's no hard feelings. If I saw them, I'd still say hi.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Social media is a weird thing, you know.
oh, dude, I've watched a
You know?
series on Peacock called Killer Post,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
it's all about like social media posts that led to murder.
Ooh.
Yeah,
All right. There you go. Yeah.
that's pretty wild because some of the
Huh.
stuff on social media becomes like this passive aggressive thing, right? Like if
Right.
someone unfriends you, you're taking it as like a slight. But as someone that's almost like 40 years old, I'm like, oh, that's totally fine. But when I was younger, I probably really would have been like, if I see that person, like I'm not even gonna say hi to them.
You
You know,
you would have shunned them. You would have shunned
it
them
would
for
have
a
been a
certain
shun.
amount of time. You would have shunned them. Yep.
I'm the master of the shun.
You were the shun master. Absolutely.
If someone pisses me off, I have no problem. Be like, okay, that's
5
fine.
months.
You know,
Shunning them for 5 months.
yes, that does happen.
Yep.
That did happen.
Mhm.
And I think I've matured on that a little bit though.
There you go.
But you also got to understand, like, there's people you're going to come across in life that if they bring no value to your life and they're not,
Yeah.
it's not like, don't feel free to cut people out. Like,
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
that doesn't mean you don't wish them well. Like, you can still wish them well. You're just like, you're
Course
not
not.
my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with you anymore.
Yeah.
And just go your separate ways. Like, there's
Agreed.
nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
All it takes is a click. You're just clicking a button that says
It's click.
unfollow
You can
or
block numbers now. You can do whatever
Mhm.
you want. And
Exactly.
again, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like I hate you. I just
Passive
don't.
aggressive.
I'm good.
Also.
Um,
Yep.
any spring cleaning going on at the McVicker home?
We've been getting outside. We got a lot of pine cones outside. So in spring outdoor cleaning. Been starting up, the leaf cleanup, the pine cones, that sort of stuff. But then this effing weather the last week, though, with the wind, it's all back. It's all
Yeah.
back. We went through 5 buckets of pine cones in the backyard, and they're all
Oh,
back
really?
again. Yeah.
So are you gonna
Um,
wait a little bit till like the weather gets
I mean, we're
better?
gonna have to. Yeah, I mean, it's before it all happens again, before more snow falls, I guess. But I would like to clean up the garage again. You haven't been over yet. We gotta have you over at some
Yeah.
point. Garage is a mess. I got a bunch of stuff out there. I gotta clean that out and outdoors. It's just
Yeah.
this weather. You're fighting this weather all the time. As a newer homeowner again, from last May, it's. I'm looking forward to this year because we're gonna find out how winter into spring into summer really goes with the new house and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it just never ends. It's a pain in the ass.
Oh,
Oh,
Mrs. McVicker has chimed in.
what is it
You
now?
can clean the toilets. How's that go on in the house? Is it like rock, paper, scissor, or?
I mean, I don't want to discuss the toilets for the 90th time. We've
Oh,
also
is this a thing?
it's an ongoing dispute. Yeah, the toilets get cleaned. When they do, I don't announce to the world that I clean something. But I feel like I just by saying that just dug myself a hole. But yes, if you want me to clean the toilets tomorrow, Megan, I'll clean the toilets tomorrow.
Well, let me
I'll
ask
do
you
it. I'll
this:
do it. Yes, go
as your
ahead.
daughter gets older,
Yeah.
are you guys gonna be the parents that are like, you have these chores X and X and X to do?
That's
Have
a
you even
fantastic.
you probably have not even thought about this?
I haven't thought about it. I'm sure Megan has because she tends to plan things out long. She's a long term. I'm a short termer. I haven't honestly thought about that. Zoe is very um, what's a good way of putting it? Impossible. She doesn't clean up her own stuff right now. She doesn't clean up her own toys. So getting her to do a chore again. She's only 4.
It's a little ways down the road,
It's a
yeah.
little ways down. She has again picking up pine cones. The key is as if there's any new parents watching that sort of thing and need some sort of parenting tips, you make it a game. Again where I'm talking about those pine cones in the backyard. You get a bucket and you say who's gonna pick up the most pine cones. And then she's like, "Oh, let's freaking go! I'm gonna beat you, Dad. I'm gonna pick up the most pine
Yeah.
cones. I'm gonna pick
Trick
this stuff up
trick them a
faster."
little bit, yeah.
Exactly. Um, yeah, she makes more of a mess than she cleans up. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah,
sounds like someone who's 4, but
exactly. Yep. But yeah, I guess I gotta clean the toilets.
okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That's always, get in, get out, and just get it done, right?
Yeah.
And if dance is canceled, you don't even have an excuse not to.
Yeah, no, I mean Megan's gonna be gone for the full day, so I'm on dad duty for the full day. So yeah, I'll squeeze cleaning toilets into that all at the same time. I'm gonna get in so much trouble after the show. I'll tell you that much.
All right, I want to get into one of our favorite segments of the best week ever. Do you have something to add there?
Nope.
Or you just? Oh, I
We're
thought you were
good.
doing like
We're good. No, I'm just trying
watching.
to Make sure I'm not in trouble because I totally am.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's what ringing free thoughts are, just free thoughts. So, you know. But Scott, your best week ever right now.
Yeah, I think the last couple of weeks, we haven't really talked much sports this episode, but it's been the start of the NFL free agent season, whatever you want to call it. I think I consider myself one, but anybody that's into the NFL and fantasy football, we're just having a great week. We're just having a great week. There's just been so many moves, especially running backs, just all over the place, going to different teams, that sort of stuff. I'm looking forward to the fantasy football season in a few months. It's a whole different landscape. Me and you constantly talk about Russell Wilson.
You know his age. He's 35.
Is he though? Is he?
37.
But I think again, any fantasy football guy, coming next draft is going to really have to pump the brakes and figure out and really confirm what running back is on what team, because geez, you got Derrick Henry, you got Josh Jacobs, you got everybody just across the board, just on all these different teams. But I've been loving it. I've been absolutely loving it. And Mac Jones being gone, not a big factor as far as fantasy
I don't
football
think he's
goes.
gonna be a
But
fantasy. And
no, I'm just another example of just moves across the board. So I know I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually started paying it. I was in first place in my league. I do my work league because I'm not a big fantasy sports.
Right? Yeah.
But paying attention this year, because now I'm like, now the Patriots aren't as good. I need a win, here and there. So
Yep.
I'm updating. Apparently I've been in this league for 6 years, which I didn't realize. So this year I had a good
You gotta
run.
realize that. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. We got a comment here. Oh, from Kendall on the Sidelines
There it is.
podcast. Check out Kendall. I got it right too because he had a question for Let Free Ring and I just drew a blank because he had a different name before for his show. But my best week ever, I have to give it to the New England Free Jacks, Reese McDonald. He had just an amazing play on Saturday that it wasn't looking good for the Free Jacks. They were down against New Orleans. There was a kick. Looked like Dougie Fife, an old Free Jack who now plays for New Orleans, is going to make the play. Reese comes out of nowhere, gets the ball, scores the try. I got to interview him after the game, and I said, "You are becoming like a fan favorite here in Quincy, Massachusetts." And a very humble guy, but he is just like, he's got to be early in the lead for possible MVP candidate. Yes, can't wait. It's going to be awesome, Kendall. We're going to do the Left Freedom Ring WrestleMania extravaganza. But yeah, no, Reese McDonald, super cool.
There we go. Cool name, Reese McDonald. I like it.
Yeah, a lot of the rugby names are actually pretty cool names out there.
I like it.
All right, we want to get into our really favorite segment.
You love it.
You don't have the courage. You're a real crumb bum. Put that on camera. You're a creep.
I love that you're a creep.
You love it. You love it so much.
Who are you going with?
So, all right, and here's my thing. I went back and forth. I said like 3 different options today, right?
Yeah, my phone's been blowing up.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Went back and forth. I said this. I said that. And this is more of a personal crumb bum to me. It's not going to be making any sort of national news. But skunks. Skunks are my crumb bum of the week. I hate this animal so effing much. I've hated them since I was a kid. And here's the deal, okay? So again, we moved into this place last May. And it was, late May, early June of last year. Out in the driveway outside a couple of nights, there was like 3 skunks, right?
They're adorable, by the way. I just want to say.
Sure, they look fantastic. But come on, man. There was a handful of skunks out last year. And again, as a father, I'm like, I can't have these skunks around, because I want my kid to be able to go outside and play in the front yard or the backyard and not need to worry about getting skunked. Yeah,
I get
you've
that.
smelled us. You've lived in New Hampshire your
I've
entire
had
life.
stare downs with skunks, and I was like, I don't need to go in my house right now. I'll just take a walk around the block.
I'll concede to a skunk every single time. Me and my an ex from ages ago, we had a dog. The dog got skunked out in the backyard one night. I am straight up afraid of skunks. Let me get there. I'm telling the skunk tale right now. Me and the ex, our dog got skunked back in 2015, give or take, and it was a month and a half before that dog didn't smell like skunks. So, and again, growing up in Nashville, I lived in an apartment complex, right, when I was a kid, and there was always skunks in this apartment complex all the time. And I used to have these recurring dreams about skunks. I'm telling you, I had recurring dreams where I was in a parking lot and there was skunks, but they were like littered all throughout the parking lot, and I had a tiptoe between them like Minesweeper almost. Can't do skunks. A couple of nights ago, maybe it might have been last Friday. I go outside at like 10 past 5. It was just after work. I was working from home. I was going outside to do something. Smell a skunk outside. And then sure enough, right at the end of the driveway, skunk hops by. And then it goes and didn't even stare me down. It was going down the side, going into the woods next to the house, and I don't know where it went. I got videotape of it. It was walking now I got to worry about skunks again. I just want the peace of mind. I want to be able to go outside. There we go, my dude from 1999. Skunks all the time. There it is, right? I'm telling you. That's hilarious. But yeah, the other night, like I just want the peace of mind. I want my kid to be able to go outside and play at night at 5:30 at night.
Oh, 5:30, they're out.
Dude, it was 5:10. It was right after 5 o'clock. It was still light outside, and it was a big skunk, right? So the theory is, is that skunk pregnant? Is it just coming out of hibernation and it's all confused? That sort of thing. I just don't want to deal with. I don't want to deal with these skunks. I want to go outside. I don't want to have to bring a flashlight outside and confirm that there's no skunk outside before I go outside and live my life. It drives me bonkers.
No, I've seen. I was driving home from softball one night, and they like possums. I saw a skunk just with all its babies on its back, and I was like, "Whoa!" I'm just glad I'm in the car. I've had my stare downs. I hit one time. I was coming home from something, and it just came. I'm like, I hit it, and my car reeked of it.
Dude,
that skunk though was gone when I came back, so it survived getting hit by a car, and it probably wasn't. It probably couldn't have lived much longer, but.
They're cute. Oh, they're this and that. They eat ticks, all that sort of stuff. That's fantastic. I get it.
I mean, look at that face.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Looks like a ferret.
Yeah, ferrets are disgusting. I don't want a ferret ever in my life.
Yeah, I wouldn't want one.
I'm sorry.
They're
I don't
cute,
want a ferret. I don't want to talk about ferrets. I'll do a whole segment just on ferrets.
I had a friend that had ferrets, and their place smelled terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. No, I had an ex that had ferrets, and it was just
you paid someone with ferrets?
We can discuss it off the air, my
Oh
friend.
God, I would have been like, no, I think this might be a deal breaker.
They're like little rat snakes. I don't think Corey Walker's watching right now, but he agrees. Ferrets are rat snakes. Don't want them. Don't want them.
All right. Well, I will go with my crumb bum of the week, and I think it's going to be kind of.
You don't have the courage. You're a real crumb bum. Put that on camera. You're a creep.
I love how he's like, put that on camera. You're a creep. And I'm going to use this logo too, because a lot of people pointed out the foot thing was always weird, but I'm going to say crumb bum of the week is Nickelodeon. You want to blame just Dan Schneider for causing such a toxic scene, but at the end of the day, this is the network that allowed this stuff to go on. And that's Nickelodeon was a big part of my childhood.
Everybody,
but that's crumb bum. I don't know how you gotta. You didn't know anything was going on. The stuff that was
No,
going on that was being put on television
of course
didn't tell
not.
any of the Nickelodeon executives like we have a problem here.
Right, right, right.
That's crumb bum.
Oh, I feel like I saw something at some point again in the last couple of days where they're posting about how like one of the Nickelodeon actresses, like her mom had passed away, and Nickelodeon didn't want her to go on like antidepressants because it might have put her in like a different mindset or something like that. So like all that Nickelodeon, all those executives, they were fully aware of everything.
They
Top
were.
to
They
bottom.
had to have been, and they allowed
Yeah.
that to go on their
Right.
network.
Yeah.
And Nickelodeon's a crumb bum
Yeah.
network, if you
Right.
ask me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think when you're working with kid actors and actresses, like there should be a higher standard than usual because they are minors, they're children.
Of course.
And how did you not watch some of these episodes and go, why do we have this on our television? I mean, I look back at like Ren and Stimpy and go, why was that okay?
There was some weird stuff back in the day, those late 90s.
Like,
Yeah.
why was
Yeah.
that okay? That should have been on Adult Swim,
Or right.
you know?
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Nickelodeon, Crumb Bum Network, first Crumb Bum Network we've ever put
Oh.
on the Crumb Bum list. And right
Yeah.
now they're not looking good.
Do
That
we have our second Mount Crummore?
that could be the second Mount Crummore
It
because
could. It could be. It
and,
could
and
be.
I'll put the whole network on. I mean, this could like impact the future of that network.
Yeah, I would absolutely think so. Is Nick? No, is Nickelodeon still even a thing right now? It has to
I don't
still.
know. I
I
would
mean,
assume it's
like
not as
I get the kid
popular.
watching like Disney Channel, that sort of stuff, but
And I'm sure Disney has their own issues, but like this,
right?
you gotta understand that guy Schneider was there for a very long time. If
Yeah.
I heard right, like he wasn't removed till like 2018. So
Woof.
that's like decades of bull crap going on that was allowed. And
Right.
when you allow a person like that to just do what they want, well, you get the results that happen. So Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
you're a crumb bum network.
Yeah.
You know?
Anybody that had any sort of power that allowed that sort of stuff to happen is just evil. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolute. Yeah.
Again, turning a blind eye to an issue
Yeah.
going on, and yeah, I'm never gonna be can't support that. And I'll still look back on a lot of those shows and enjoy them. But you look at it, it's like, man, everything's got a dark,
That's the thing, though, right there.
you
Like,
know.
is my entire childhood just tainted now? Like, we've been talking about Pete and Pete for a month. I really want to go watch those old Pete and Pete episodes, but like now, am I gonna have to worry about Danny Tamborelli being, abused back in the day or something? Like, I feel like
Well,
that's the case, unfortunately.
you gotta wonder what else comes out. Like
Right?
it's just
Yeah.
a lot of stuff back in the day was, a lot of people, they're mad about the Me Too movement and all this other stuff. I'm like, I understand there was some problematic things that
Mm,
came out, but I think the core of a lot of these movements, there's reasons behind them because a
yeah.
lot of bad behavior was tolerated for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yep.
think about it. Look at Bill Cosby. How did that go on for
Right.
decades? Decades. Nobody said anything?
That
Like,
Hollywood power. Again, I
it,
mentioned earlier that fear of never working in this town again or whatever it might be. It's
or
just,
a Harvey Weinstein? Like these were like
yeah.
powerful people
Yeah.
doing awful things and nobody stopping it. Like obviously Harvey Weinstein's probably above Crumbum, like he's like the Antichrist
Yeah.
or the devil or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like that's a guy in position of power who abused that power and probably the people were in what do you do?
Right. Yeah.
You know? So I look at Nickelodeon, it's like your executives allowed this,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
you know.
Yep.
So
Breaks my heart. Absolutely.
but and I'm sure more stuff, is gonna come out.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but anyway, Scott, anything you want to say? We're now 8 episodes in.
The
Just been
Ocho, right?
the Ocho.
The Ocho. Yeah, no, we're chugging along. Spring is upon us, hopefully, except for this weather tomorrow. Yeah, that's really it. Just keep on chugging along every day.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Well,
uh,
everybody out there, we appreciate you tuning in. This is the new TGIF. Ring in free thoughts. We're here bi-weekly. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I don't know how the show is going to go down. I'm going to be heading to Philadelphia for WrestleMania.
mm,
We will have something that week. We just
got
got to figure out
something.
the details. What will happen?
We'll
We don't
figure
know.
it out.
But I'll
On
tell you,
location,
uh, our,
WrestleMania on location.
our executives who are class acts, who
I
look
don't
out for
know
the
about that.
well-being of me and Scott, will be
Wilson
on
Baggett.
this.
Yep.
Yeah, she's the producer.
CFO.
But everybody have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.